Okay, please hear that I only have 30 minutes to present, yeah, and 10 minutes for Q&A.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to all our honored guests. Good morning, Good morning to all our honored guests. Welcome to webinar session of the Higher Education Virtual Expo 2022. So with me today is Ms. Soffena Desman from Manpower Planning and Economic Council, and she will be presenting a topic on upskilling and reskilling programs. There will be a 10-minute session for question and answer at the end of this session. You can type all your questions at the chat area, and we'll try our best to answer them at the end of the session. So without further ado, Miss, you may start.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen now. Can everybody see my screen? Yeah? Okay. So just to introduce myself, I'm Soffena from the Manpower Planning and Employment Council Secretariat. So we're here today to talk about the initiatives that we have at the moment that we are offering under Manpower Planning and Employment Council, MPEC for short. So we're going to talk about Skills Plus, PIN in Accountancy, iSkill, as well as HSE program. Starting with Skills Plus, can I just ask if anybody have heard about Skills Plus? Oh, good, you've heard of it. Thanks. So Skills Plus, hold on. Okay. So just for information for those who don't know about what Skills Plus is. So Skills Plus is an initiative under the FPC again that is supported by our strategic partner, Lifelong Learning Center, under MOE. So what Skills Plus is that it provides funding assistance to local job seekers as well as local employees in the private sector. So local employees also includes freelance workers who wish to reskill and upskill themselves by taking courses that are less than 1 year. Where can you find the Skills Plus courses? You can find it on L3C's website. You can also register for this funding assistance at l3c.moe.gov.pn. The Skills Plus Fund is open to local job seekers, including freelancers, local employees in the private sectors, and also I-ready apprentices. So if you can see here at the bottom, you can also see the eligibility criteria for the funding for local job seekers or freelancers. If you are aged between 16 to 55 years old, inshallah, you are eligible, and and it is also for those who does not have a permanent job, and you have to be registered at Job Center Brunei prior to seeking for the funding assistance. So although this funding assistance is provided, we do have a capping system, and there is a maximum limit for this assistance. So for local job seekers and local private sectors, if you have been awarded with the Skills Plus Fund, you will be capped at 1,000 Brunei dollars for valid for 9 months. So for 9 months, you are free to apply for any of the courses that are available on L3C with the Skills Plus stamp on it. As long as you don't go over the 1,000 Brunei dollars, yeah. And for the type of courses, we do understand that there are a lot of courses here in Brunei. However, we do not fund all the courses in Brunei under Skills Plus. So only those that have been identified under the 10 areas that you can see on your screen now, that will be funded by Skills Plus. So the 10 identified areas are hospitality and tourism, human resources, management skills, finance, agriculture, languages, entrepreneurship, Islamic studies, retail, and ICT. So if you want to know what are the courses, Ani, exactly, then you can go over to L3C's website today and find out more about the courses. This is just to show the process flow and timeline for Skills Plus funding. So it starts with, of course, applying for you to apply for the course and also for the funding via the website, which I have mentioned earlier. And then it will take about 14 to 16 days for you to be awarded with the Skills Plus fund, and as well as for you to start the training course. Also, if you would want to ask any questions, please raise your hand. Yeah, you can stop me at any time. So what are the documents required if you want to apply for the Skills Plus fund on L3C? So what you can do is, for local job seekers or freelancers, you need to upload your photocopy of IC, passport, highest academic qualification certificate, as well as a screenshot of active job center profile. Moving on to spin and accountancy. So tadi, Skills Plus is more on like for courses that are less than 1 year. So for spin and accountancy, it is a bit, it is a specific area that we are targeting, which is accountancy. So what is spin and accountancy? Again, it is an upskilling and reskilling initiative. The program is supported by the Ministry of Finance and Economy, as well as Brunei Darussalam Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Similar to Skills Plus, the program also provides funding assistance to local job seekers and local employees in the private sector, as well as I-ready apprentices who meets the program requirement to acquire professional certification. The objectives of the program, Ani, is to enable locals to pursue professional certification. In this context, it is in auditing, accounting, and finance, as well as to bridge the skills gap between the supply and demand in the respective field, as well as to create a pool of local professionals in order to increase localization in this area and to sufficiently provide financial services, particularly for MSMEs. So through spin and accountancy, the courses that you can undergo and choose to undergo is either one, FIA, if you want to, Foundation in Accounting, or Certified Accounting Technician, or ACCA. So for these three courses, if you would like to choose any of the courses later on, and if you want to apply for the program, it will be also assessed by BICPA to see whether to see which of the courses that you are most suited for. Yeah, and then the beauty of this program is that for CAT and ACCA courses, you will be assigned to a registered professional mentor. So you will be kind of like a shadow buddy, I would say. And you will pair with a registered professional mentor who are SCCA or CAT certified throughout the duration of the program. So for CAT, it would be 2 years plus 1 year mentorship, and then for ACCA, 4 years plus 3 years mentorship. The general requirements for the program is that those who have bachelor degree or HND or TVET in the relevant field can apply for this program, or if you have 4 O levels with at least credit C in maths and English, you can also apply for this program. It is also open for those ages ranging between 18 to 45 years old. And then for if you are local job seekers, you have to be registered with Job Center Brunei. If you are already a local employee in the private sector or an I-ready apprentice in the private sector, you will be assessed in terms of whether you have the relevant work experience and is currently employed in a registered private company, or if you are an I-ready apprentice, your host company has already given you a COE. We will also be looking into that. And the second one for local employees or I-ready apprentices is that you have to be registered and contributing to TAP, as well as presenting to us the support letter from your employer or host organization. What will be funded under the spin and accountancy program? So we will support in terms of tuition fees, including any exemption fees, course registration fees, examination fees, and this also includes one receipt. And then the fourth one is membership registration fee for a period of 3 years. This is only for provisional members. And then number 5, transportation allowance of $58 according to course duration. So meaning to say, if, for example, tadi kalau CET, you have the course duration is 2 years, yeah. So you will be given transportation allowance of $58 for 2 years. And then for those who have applied and are already awarded with the funding assistance through the SPIN and accountancy program, job seekers, you will also be given subsistence allowance amounting up to $300 per month, again, according to course duration. This is just to share with you the documents required, the documents that you need to prepare in order for you to apply for the program. So for job seekers, you have to have a copy of IC, passport, certificate of highest academic qualification, your result slips, or if you don't have result slips, then transcripts. And then you have to have a screenshot of that active Job Center Brunei profile. Together with that, you need to also upload and prepare and upload your CV and also a digital copy of your passport size photo. And the same goes for those who are already employed or an already apprentice. Is just that the additional requirement is that you need to upload your support letter from your employer. That's on SPIN and accountancy. And then for moving on to overview of iSkill program. So what iSkill program is that iSkill Ani is actually offered under IBTE. So it's kind of like a school program under IBTE, if you have heard of ISQ before. So we would say that this is an enhanced version of iSkill program. And then you can see as we move along, Farah, if you go through it, you can see the difference between ISQ and also ISQ dulu and also iSkill now. So iSkill was actually developed by the Manpower Industry Steering Committee, Working Group Energy, a committee under MPEC, together with the academic institution as well as regulators, yeah. So what iSkill is that it's an industry qualification. So we look at the competency requirement that is required by industry, whether it is on par and of standards in terms of the industry needs. And then we also look at the recognized standards again, along with industry. We look at the standards, whether it is recognized and endorsed by BDNSC. Number 3, accredited and quality assurance. Number 4 is that you will be monitored, and you can also actually monitor your own professional development through a digital application. At the moment, the iSkill programs are offered under IBTE is that iSkill, ISQ in rigging, welding, this is for NTech level, ISQ in scaffolding, marking and fitting, as well as blasting and painting. The main components of iSkill is that, so if you're a student or a trainee under this program, for course number 1, 3, 4, and 5, except for number 2, you will be undergoing IBT training for 3 months. So if you have been accepted under IBT as a welding student, then you will be undergoing IBT training for 6 months. So that's the difference, yeah. And then number 2 is that the main component of iSkill is that you would have training with the RTO. You will also have industrial placement, and then we will also send you for program Jati Diri. So this is in collaboration with Bahagian Hikmat Bakti Negara as well as IBTE. And as the final exam, you will also be assessed under what we call endpoint assessment. Do you have any questions? Not yet. Okay. So just to share with you what's happening on the ground later on, if you will be an IBT trainee, iSkill trainee and IBT at the time, a student. So what will happen is that you will be studying at IBTE dulu, IBTE based, and then after 3 to 6 months, then after 6 months with IBTE, then you'll be going into RTO. You will undergo your training with the RTO. If you are a welding student, then it will be 6 months. And then if you are under marking and fitting and the rest, then your RTO training will be for 3 months, okay? And then prior to going into industrial placement, Ani, you will be assessed by the RTO's assessors dulu, baru you go to industrial placement. So what industrial placement, for difference between RTO and industrial placement is that RTO, you masih belajar. You will still be trained hands-on. So you will train on the standards and the requirement that is usually required by the industry themselves. So you'll be taught by the actual companies in the oil and gas industry. And then for industrial placement, what you'll be doing is that you will be having a real life working experience. So for example, kalau for scaffolder. So for scaffolder, when you go into this this phase of industrial placement, you will be working as a apa tu namanya, scaffolder under that host company that will be identified by the respective agencies. If you would like to know more about iSkill Ani, you can actually go to this link to know more about what iSkill is. Ataupun if you want to know in terms of what the RTO can offer you and what will be born, what will be offered by MPEC under this program, you can scan here as well. Yeah, I'll give you 2 minutes to screenshot this the link and the QR code in case you need them. Meantime, let me just check my chat box again. Okay, so we have a question from Yul Arpan. Thanks for that question. Yes, so Yul is asking whether iSkill program Ani is currently inclusive in IBT's current intake. So at this point in time, iSkill program Ani memang kena offer under IBTE, yes, under IBTE. But that is specifically for, at the moment lah, iSkill Ani specifically for trade skills, meaning to say discipline leto, yung punya course module ito, related to oil and gas industry punya skills sahaja at the moment. Okay, moving on. Sorry. Yul Arpan, did I answer your question? Is that clear to you? Okay, moving on. So this is the last part, I think. Yes, last part, sorry. So apart from, like, we've seen Skills Plus, we've seen spin and accountancy, we've seen specific oil and gas iSkill ito. So the last one, we want to look into HSC punya competency. HSC skills. Those this is especially for those who are interested to become to have a career in HSE. So what the program is about is that it's an initiative from the joint MISC. MISC stands for Manpower Industry Steering Committee, so it's a committee under MPEC, HSE task force from the construction and energy sector. This is to enable local employees and I-ready apprentices in the private construction and energy sector to acquire professional certification and experience in HSE. So the program is open to local employees and I-ready apprentices in the private construction and energy sector. How you can go into this program, I'll let you know once we go through everything, yeah? So just to share with you under the program, what will be funded from MPEC side is that we will provide funding assistance via Skills Plus punya funding for eligible companies. So for this program, for the rest of the program for job seekers, already apprentices, existing workforce, they can apply themselves. But for this specific program, it needs companies yang supposed to apply for you leto. So we will fund under Skills Plus Ani the following courses, which is that we will be paying for your IOSH and NIBOSH. Under IOSH Under IOSH, what you can learn is that you can learn about the required organization health and safety structure to manage health and safety in the workplace. So why you need IOSH Ani is that if you want to be a workplace safety and health coordinator, this is one of the prerequisite from Shina Letwa that you would need to have IOSH Ani to become a WSH coordinator. The training duration for IOSH Ani is 4 days only, and the training cost ranges between $900 to $1,500. And then moving on to NIBOSH. So tadi for IOSH itu is specifically for coordinator punya job position. So for NIBOSH ini, it is specifically for workplace safety and health officer. So the course duration will be for 2 to 3 weeks, and then the training cost is about $2,500. Eligibility criteria, just to share with you, for this is open for yellow or red IC holders. And then for private sector employees, it is open to those with age ranging from 21 to 55 years old. The company will need to also submit to us proof of nomination in the program, as well as support letter from the employer themselves, and then a proof of identified designated coach, or supervisor specific for the individual from the employer. And then the employees themselves, the employees needs to be registered to Tabung Amanah Pekerja, and then as well as any other criteria required by the RTO for IOSH or NIBOSH punya course. For iReady apprentices, on the other hand, again, you would need to have a yellow or red IC holder. So everything ani yang Kana mentions ni applies for iReady apprentices juga, except for the age range ani. And then, and also an additional requirement under iReady apprentice. The difference is that for iReady apprentices, companies need to also provide proof of COE. It's meaning to say that when they take you in as an iReady apprentice, they have already told us, yes, we are going to give this person, person A conditional offer of employment subject to their performance. Okay. And then next, so this is how it's going to be like if you are enrolled under the program. First, okay, does anybody know what this is? HCG 03 HSSE graduates. Does anyone know? Okay, I'll just share with you, yeah. So HCG 03 HSSE is actually a module under IBTE. So if you have already taken this module, HCG 03 HSSE, you are, oh, we have one chat. Oh, you never heard of it. Okay, thank you. So HCG 03 again, it's a module under IBT, offered under IBT, and it was developed, I would say, yeah, developed lah. It was developed by the Joint MIAC HSC Task Force Atutade, and it has already been accredited and recognized by BDNAC to become an equivalent to IOSH or NIBOSH. So, meaning to say, tadi kan I mentioned kalau you want to become a coordinator or officer, you have to have either IOSH or NIBOSH. But for HCG 03 HSE graduates, if they've already taken them, you don't have to take IOSH because your certification under HCG 03 module is already equivalent lah. We would say equivalent to IOSH. Lain lah kalau you want to become WSH officer. If you want to become a WSH officer, then you would need to go, you already have your certificate yang equivalent to IOSH, but you need to have your NIBOSH punya certificate. So what will happen is that the company needs to select an individual to become an iReady apprentice, ataupun they need to look into their internal organization and see who is most befitting to become a WSH coordinator or officer. And then the way that you can also for HCG 03 HSC graduates ataupun nanti kalau orang yang sudah ambil HCG 03 module how you can enroll onto this program is that you can either be recruited as I-ready apprentices, I-ready apprentice, ataupun permanent employee. So for I-ready apprentice ini, again, you need to be employed with the company for at least 6 months and is offered COE. Kenapa 6 months itu? This is to also to ensure and increase your chances untuk pass di NIBOSH or IOSH course itu nanti. And then the second step is that, so this is optional ya, as I mentioned tadi. Kalau you ada IOSH sudah, you can skip to the third part. However, kalau you need to have the NIBOSH punya training, then the company needs to apply for you a funding for you to undergo this NIBOSH training. How they can apply for you is that the company needs to apply via L3C, which is who is our strategic partner, Lifelong Learning Center. And then after you have already gone through the NIBOSH training, you will continue your on-the-job training with identified supervisor. So your identified supervisor memang sudah kira go through some kind of screening lah, meaning to say they are fit to become your or officer for 2 years time. So once the company has already seen that you are already ready to become a coordinator or officer, then they will be registering you to SHINA to become a registered and licensed WSH coordinator or WSH officer. This is of course subject to SHINA's assessment lagi itulah. And then once you have already been registered and licensed later on, once SHINA has already recognized, then you can continue practicing your skill satu as WSH coordinator or WSH officer. So at this point in time, yang that is required for HSC punya position ini, of course, in energy punya sector as well as construction punya sector. That's all from me. So this is our email address if you want to know more, and our hotline number 7291785 if you would like to ask any other questions. And then I think now it's safe for me to open the floor for you guys to ask me any questions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Soffena, for the insightful information with regards to the new program and with regards to the spin in the accountancy. Okay, so we are open for the Q&A session. As I can see here in the chat area, there's no question, but there is a few questions from myself. For regards to the spin in accountancy, right? There is funding assistance. So is it that we have to pay back for, let's say, the tuition fees at the end of the course, or is it just?
Oh no.
Okay.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah.
That's actually a good question. Sometimes people think that when we give out the money, then you have to pay back later on, right? So the answer is no. For the funding assistance and the spin and accountancy, once you have already been awarded, once we see that you are eligible and awarded already on the spin and accountancy, we will in layman's term lah, for the lack of better words, pay for your course either for FIA, CAT, or ACCA nanti, based on according to assessment by Big Bata. And then that cost yang kami bayarkan includes receipt juga, satu kali receipt. However, kalau lapas satu kali receipt ataupun you belum pass, then only you have to pay pakai your own your own expenses.
Is it like depend on the? Sorry to interrupt. Is it also depend on your result? Is it? Untuk membayar itu?
That will be depending on assessment. Untuk membayar maksudnya?
Macam let's say kalau kau membayar balik itu, is it macam mesti ada specific macam untuk result itu, based on the result? Let's say ia dapat A, satu ia nak bayar macam tu. Is it macam SBPP? As maybe you might not aware.
That one.
Ada? Okay.
Okay, so I might misunderstand your question. Just no. So no. So kalau macam ada student loan kan, kalau A, kalau dapat first class, dapat second class, you have to pay a certain amount, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The answer again would be no.
No. Oh, okay.
Unless you fail the first time punya course, and then sekali punya receipt you fail, baru dah the second time you want to receipt, then only you have to pay under your own expenses though.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you for the feedback. One.
No problem.
So another
Thank you.
question from me, because I'm interested in this the NIBOSH certification and IOSH. Okay.
Okay.
Currently, for iReady lah, what if kami yang di iReady in the government sector ni, we are interested to join the program? Dapat ke jua? Is it eligible? Are we eligible?
I would say because one of the requirement under
Mhm.
HSC competency apprenticeship program ini is that for iReady apprentices tu, the funding assistance tu later on will be applied by the host company themselves. So the funding atau will, because there's different, if you can see today, so I forgot to explain to you guys, there's two different capping system. So one capping system atau capping system A is for local job seekers as well as private sector employees tu
Yeah.
yang anu amount up to $1,000. Kalau company yang punya funding assistance-nya capping-nya is for $15,000. Okay? So kalau company kalau for this HSC ni kami membayarkan direct anu tu for the company themselves. So kalau company tu yang mengapply, they need to give us a proof that they will be offering you conditional offer of employment, of course subject to your performance. So for kalau iReady apprentices in the government sector, they would have to give us whether there is a demand or not under your department or under that ministry, ada demand tender for HSC itu punya position. Satu. Kedua, they need to also give us a conditional offer of employment. Sekiranya ada, insyaAllah, based on like further assessment lagi, then we will also contact you kalau you dapat.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
okay.
But for this program, specific is focusing more on those in the private sector lah, we would say.
So I see that mostly on construction and in the energy sector that I see.
Correct, because kalau energy yang memang diperlukan for HSC punya trade skill ni memang diperlukan in energy. For construction, there is already a industry guidance note from Sheena that has been issued. And there's already a workplace order issued by Sheena that in the construction sector there needs to be kalau for adalah projects for, can't remember at the top of my head, projects for a certain number of certain amount of money, certain amount of cost, they need to have at least one HSE officer at site. So that's how the program money was developed. It was because of the demands in energy as well as in the construction, together with the requirement by Sheena that in the construction sector up to some certain amount of cost setup punya projects, they need to have a HSC officer, at least satu on site. That's how the program has come up. Yeah.
Okay. I met Mr. Day, yang ini berapa tahun course ni NIBOSH ni, duration course nya?
Okay, so kalau from Sheena, the requirement for either HSC officer or coordinator they need to have for Sheena to recognize them to be registered and licensed as a WHH officer or coordinator. This specific person, they need to have a relevant HSC related working experience satu. Kedua, they need to already have that working experience, HSC related working experience for at least 2 years, a minimum of 2 years. So how the program works is that there's the different components. So there's the different components in this program. So satu is that we will pay for your NIBOSH or IOSH. Kedua is that if you are an iReady apprentice, you will be given an allowance. Ketiga is that you will be undergoing your on-the-job training. So ada 3 letak. So ada dua aspek. Satu is NIBOSH punya course or IOSH punya course. Kedua is that on-the-job training. However, before you masuk for IOSH or NIBOSH you need to have at least 6 months punya working experience dulu, on-the-job working experience, in order to increase your chances to pass the first time when you sit for the exam for either IOSH or NIBOSH. So this is also based on the recommendation and feedback from the industry themselves lah. They say that we see that the chances of people passing their first time sitting for HSC Ayush or Nibosh punya exam ni is that kalau sekiranya they have prior experience. So that's why we say we highly recommend for this person to have 6 months prior experience dulu lah, on the job training experience before they sit for Ayush and Nibosh. And then for Ayush, tadi as you can see, berapa lama tu tadi? 3 days, 4 days, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation. It's very
so the different component too. So for Ayush and Nibosh tu, it's just merely kira macam kalau tani training, kalau tani macam course cuma tu, course for macam language, Korean punya language, 2-3 hari saja kan. Tapi jadi lepas tu lepas tu they have to have a on the job training punya working experience juga.
Okay. Untuk let's say kalau yang unemployed pun boleh ba ni ka-join Let's say kami habis sudah ready kami and then kami macam ada lagi tapi just for upgrading lah our skill cuma tak boleh join.
For HSC punya program, you need to be for HSC punya program for HSC punya program you need to be an I-ready apprentice. An I-ready apprentice currently under a host company in the private sector.
Tapi kalau unemployed tak dapat.
Unemployed, then we are going to open inshallah end of March, if I'm not mistaken, or early April. Positions we will be advertising HSC positions for companies yang interested to get I-ready apprentices through this program. So for unemployed job seekers sekiranya you are interested, be on the lookout for these positions on Job Center Brunei punya website lah. You can apply for that position nanti once we advertise, and then you can be enrolled into the program.
Be funded.
Look out for our advertisement for that.
Funded betul funded by
yes.
By the government.
We will be funding for your Ayush or Nibosh course, and then the rest your the job training will be borne by the company lah. So the company yang sekarang membagi you on the job training. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Miss, for answering my questions. I guess that's all the
As for the rest,
I guess there's more question from
so
the
as for the rest, if you do have any questions,
you can probably tag
for the rest, if you do have any questions, sorry Puan, if I may finish, yes.
Okay.
For the rest of the participants here, if you do have any other questions for me, you can reach out to me via our hotline number today, as we have already presented. So 729-1785. You can even WhatsApp us. If you want to know more ataupun get a copy of the presentation today for specific programs, let me know. You can actually email me at Soffena. I'll just type on in the group chat. Soffena. Soffena.Desman@jpm.gov.bn. If you would like to get in touch with me, it's a direct message. Sorry.
Direct message to me. Okay. To
sorry.
all. Never mind.
Yes, so I'm sending it to everyone now.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so for Tuan Yul Arpad, you can email me your request and then I'll inshallah send you a PDF copy of the slides.
Okay.
As for everyone else, if you want to know more, if you want to get in touch with me, let me just email me or contact me via our hotline number. Hotline number, let me just type it here again, 729-1785. 729-1785.
Okay, so it seems that all questions been answered. So if you have any further inquiry, you can simply email or contact you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Call, WhatsApp, text.
On the mention or stated email. Okay, so thank you, Puan, for the insightful information. So the next session will start at 10 on the topic, what's next? Lifelong learning opportunities during endemic. So thank you for joining our session this morning. To all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Puan.
Salam. Thank you so much to everybody.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.